Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Fabled deck. Now Fabled is very similar to Dark Worlds. It's basically a deck that revolves around discarding cards, but the real thing to the deck that makes it a lot more different than Dark Worlds is that it's meant to combine a lot of lower leveled monsters to make big synchro plays and just swarm like really crazy. And yeah, just keep synchroing and keep refilling your hand, and it can load the field up very quickly, so it can be definitely a really fun deck to play if that's your style. I'm definitely still a bit new to the archetype, but going with this build, there's a lot of tech options that I'll talk about in the side deck, but for now I'm pretty happy with how this is going, but you guys can, of course, let me know in the comments. So first off, 3 Fabled Grimro, like one of the strongest normal Fabled monsters, so definitely you want to run 2 or 3 of this. Really nice that you can also search out with it, so we have a beater that searches, really nice. And then we have the Fabled Cerburrel, so you're going to see this theme a lot. A lot of the cards can special summon when they get discarded, and this is one of them. Keep in mind that it's a 2-star tuner, so that leads us into very quick plays. And then Chawa, just another thing that you can just discard, and you can special summon very nicely. 1-star tuner, giving us access to more plays. And then Fabled Ganashia, so when it's discarded, it gets summoned, and then it becomes a beater. It becomes 1800 attack. So definitely very nice, can lead us into more plays. And then the Fabled Krus. So this one's just nice that when it gets discarded, you can special summon from the graveyard. Fableds are going to have a lot in the graveyard normally, so being able to special summon from it will be very nice. And then Fabled Raven. So this can be a really interesting card in a lot of decks, but just in Fabled, gives you access to discarding whatever you want, gives you access to changing levels and having a high attack monster. So some people don't run very many of this. I've seen some people run like 1 or 2. I'm currently running 2 because I really like some of the plays you can make with this card, but definitely a choice. Fabled Lurrie, another one of those cards that when it gets discarded can special summon it. Easy 1-star to give you access to more synchros. Fabled Nozoochee. So this one's just very nice that you can discard other monsters and do more special summoning. A lot of the cards are very similar. It's just stacking the deck with all different ones that lead you to different plays. And then Fabled Kushano, just allowing you to recycle from the graveyard using itself, which is very nice that you can discard using an effect from the graveyard. So in case you don't have the ability to discard from your hand, that can be very nice. And then one Honest in a light base deck. For the spells, not very many spells. This deck is very high in monster count. Usually the spell and traps are limited. I'm currently going with a lot of traps, but a lot of people don't even run very many traps. We're using Dark World Dealings, obviously, in this deck, makes sense. MST and Monster Reincarnation, also very good for this deck. And of course, Dark Hole. For the traps, I'm running 2 Fiendish Chain, 1 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, can be really nice for this deck, and 2 Beckoning Light, very powerful for this deck in the right situation, can really set up things crazily, being able to recycle from your graveyard and just swarm. There's a really lot you can do with this card, which is why I'm running 2 of it. And then staple traps, not too much to say there. Again, a lot of people don't even run very much back row. It's up to you. I'm currently trying this out with more of a staple back row and some, interesting additions, but it's up to you guys. So now for the extra deck, obviously very important in this deck. A lot of synchro power in this deck, a lot of variety. First off, Formula Synchron, we can get this out very nicely, giving us some draw power and access to some other interesting plays. Mistbird, another nice card that we can get out with our low levels. The Fabled Unicore and the Fabled Kudabbi. So these are 4-star synchros that have very powerful effects if you're able to make use of them. Kudabbi just becomes it can't be destroyed, which is just really nice, as long as you empty your hand, which is pretty normal for this deck. Unicore, when you have the same amount of cards, it really locks down your opponent. So Unicore is kind of hard to kind of balance your deck around. You have to really have an idea of what's going on and kind of limit your opponent's choices. But in the right situations, Unicore can be really annoying for your opponent to deal with. Especially, if you set up a certain card amount on the field that allows them to have to use cards in order to deal with you, and then if they use those cards, they get locked down if the amounts are the same. So it can be really interesting. And then the Fabled Ragin and Librarian, both giving you some nice draw power. Just very nice that you can lead to some more plays. Yeah, just very good. Catastor, obviously. Ancient Sacred Wyvern with light monsters, always a very powerful monster. As long as you get ahead, this card can be extremely powerful. For the 8 stars, Stardust, Scrap Dragon, and Crimson Blade are all very useful. We also have Shooting Star Dragon because we can get him out without that much trouble and can be a very nice monster to get out, to make some big plays. Not many XYZ in this deck, very synchro heavy deck. We do have Zen mains because we have a good amount of 3-star. I'm also running Exciton Knight and Solemn Warning. It's definitely up to you because 4-stars are very limited in this deck. We only have Honest and Grimro, but because of Fabled Raven, we can make it 4-star and do the XYZ. I like having Exciton Knight and Solemn Warning for those rare situations, but it's up to you. You can always just run full synchros if you want. So enough of the side deck. Again, side decks in my videos are kind of just recommended cards that can also work with this deck. It isn't meant to be a side deck for matches. These aren't, side cards. These are cards that I want you to think about if you're building your own Fabled deck. A lot of tech, a lot of different options for this deck. You can run Tour Guide. Tour Guide will give you easy XYZs because you can also bring out Kushano. And with Tour Guide, you can run, Chaos like Blackluster Soldier. So that gives you some options. Effect Veiler is really nice in this deck. Snipe Hunter, and also an interesting card that gives you access to Chaos. Gore's Tragodia, again Chaos if you're not running back row, or you just want to run Tragodia, can be very, very good. Especially Tragodia with its ability to change levels. You could run this deck with like a TG hybrid deck. That's an interesting build. Cephalon, the Ultimate Time Lord. Usually getting 10 monsters in your graveyard is tricky, but with Fabled, it's really, really easy. So Cephalon can get out pretty easily in this deck. Can be a very powerful card. Bunch of other synchros you can run. Black Rose, Fabled Valkyris. Not really that interested in running this, but it's an option. If you're focused on more 5-stars, you can run 5-star XYZs. Mind Control, obvious in this deck, can be really nice. Drag Down into the Grave, another really nice card. Into the Void, another interesting choice. And Reckless Greed can be an obvious choice in this deck, enabling you to make those plays really quickly. So that's my Fabled deck. Again, very similar to Dark Worlds, just a ton of discarding and summoning and swarming and synchroing. Definitely very fun to play, definitely takes some getting used to. A lot of graveyard management and hand management, and it definitely can be trouble if you swarm the field too much and make these plays that you're not really ready to back up, but still can be really effective. But if you guys have your own Fabled decks, you can post below. Let me know in the comments. Make suggestions for me. There's probably some cards I didn't think about. You could post below, or just give me advice on my build, and I'll update it, as I go along. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.